Hi, my name is Sally Ann Stearns. I am a 42-year-old female living in Montana with Morgellons or Morgellons disease. I'm doing some video documentation to try to save my own life due to the fact that I have no support whatsoever. Am waiting for a disability hearing here soon, and however long those payments will take to come through, which will be a while still, I guess. Now I don't even remember what the purpose of this video was, but what I'm trying to document is how much this disease, especially an advanced form of it, interferes with one's day-to-day life, and how much we lose, and the lies and misconceptions and misgeneralizations that are made towards us patients, and basically the results of it, what ends up happening in life. So today I am trying to get ready for an art walk. I've got a little over 2 days to do this. I've been trying to work on this for a little while, and also I have a whole bunch to do. I've got a whole bunch of medical records to get to my attorney, and what else? I'm just super behind in life, having been mostly bedridden for the past 5 years, and I was only diagnosed a year and a half ago, although the symptoms have been there since the early 2000s. Were ignored and dismissed by medical personnel. In fact, in my health records, which I need to get updated copies of all of them, from the how do I say this without saying the low-income clinic in town, I guess, who I saw there for a decade, ignored my symptoms, and in fact, when I did get my records later and looked at them, basically they were almost scoffed at as if I was drug seeking or something. I was having difficulty getting up a flight of stairs, difficulty breathing when I would get to the top stair. Although I was a very athletic person growing up, come from a very healthy family, and was very, very healthy until the disease Morgellons basically has completely taken my whole entire life. I might be living, but I am living almost as a dead person, because I'm barely able to do anything every day, and it's been like this for over a decade now. I've shown the signs of this for 15 years, as far as like disfiguring infections, mostly in my face, mostly in my cheek area right here. It has caused dysfunction in almost every organ in my body. I have lost several businesses that I worked hard to start from scratch. Worked through the night many times, and started a pretty big jewelry genre that's copied around the world, so I shouldn't be in a place where I'm struggling to pay you know, less than $650 in bills monthly. All I know that is that this is all just really, really ridiculous. What's going on with this disease, what is going on in our nation, in our world, how cruel people can be, and how brainwashed, basically, they can be by the media or whatever other factors. And I'm just doing this to fight for my life right now. I am in need of finances desperately till I can get this disability. And basically, homelessness has left me jailed when I wasn't breaking the law and wasn't abusing drugs. I was just way too sick to take care of myself, and it's been the same story. And even though I go through these experiences, my family doesn't want to help me through it, or my friends, or my community, or anybody. I guess they don't want to enable me to get better, because that's all I've heard, is that they would be enabling me to get better and get healthy if they were to help me. And they act like they care about my life, but no one actually wants to help me with what I actually need help with. I do believe I'm getting better from this, since I don't and haven't had any of these infections in my face or my arms. Those ones were really bad. They opened up, well over an inch wide, and finally healed when all of the white balls of fiber came out of them, and the goo and whatever else. And what's super interesting is that when this opened up on my head, which was consequently when I was forced into a car accident by a police officer who refused to move his vehicle from behind my rear-wheel drive Mercedes after a month of very bad snow. He also, the same officer, said as we were going into the ER, after I'd flipped my Mercedes-Benz 2.5 times, that with my 14-year-old German Shepherd service dog in there, he says, as we're going into the ER, this is all on his cop cam, as is him motioning me to drive forward, and I'm saying, I can go when you move your vehicle from behind me. You know, I told him 3 times before I left the house. It was the last thing I said. I can't go till you guys leave, basically, you know. Also, that much snow on the back of my window, which I have pictures of. And so instead of moving his big SUV from behind my vehicle, he's making me drive off, because they can't legally take me anywhere, nor can mental health or the hospital or the clinic that's cut me off care in this town help me with this disease now. And so as we're walking into the ER, he says, well, I turned on my lights before I rushed into her, you know. And all of those charges were thrown out of court. I was never given a copy of my discovery. And, and the newspaper won't correct the, any of the misinformation that the paper put in there. I would rather have gone to a trial by jury and ended up with a felony than to let their lies stick, because everything in the article that they put in the paper, besides the weather conditions, is completely unfactual. So here I am in my hometown with not more than an hour or 2 of poor functionality every single day. It's been this way for years. A huge family with a lot of properties, and just a huge family, extended family, all very healthy, pretty much, and all very well off, and none of them are under the poverty line. But Yet I have not had a single soul, even though they all pretend to know how badly I need this help, not pull together to try to help me. So here I am doing some video documentation on my story in hopes that it might help others that are going through this horrific, torturous, disabling, life-stealing disease. It's very, very wrong. It's been ignored for so long. And I just want to do what I can to help. I don't care if I were to lose my life tomorrow. You know, if I have at least tried to do something to help others. I spent an awful lot of nights working through the night to help the next generation. When I started a child care center in this town, because of my daughter and a building and an idea that I had. Unfortunately, after 5 years, I was unable to physically keep up with the demands of that. And not only that, working with a family partner, it turned out to be unharmonious, for lack of being able to find my vocabulary these days. And so I don't really like to fight with people. So I left and was never paid for any of the marketing that made that business the success it is today. Was not paid for the logo, the slogan, the advertisements, the policies, the basement that was remodeled because of the grant that I wrote, etc., etc., etc. I never got any kind of buyout, stipend, commissions, anything like that, whatever. So I proceeded to start a business on my own without a partner that couldn't push me out of that. Kind of like they're doing at the church I was just singing and music in just now, lately, recently. And so I started a jewelry business. It became very successful very quickly. And I lost that as well. I was pulling in $1,000 a day in sales, and I don't know. I've got other videos. I repeat things a lot, and I'm sorry for that. It's tough for me to follow a story. It's tough for me with memory. Everything's tough. So you can find out more information. I'm asking not only for financial help, but just for even help with marketing, with filming a documentary, with the help that I could get from anyone that would feel so inclined, I suppose. Here is the awesome top of my head. What's happening with me? I've got all kinds of weird areas of regrowth where the hair grows back pretty shortly after that. The infection in that spot has cleared. There's a healing one, and here's a very active one that ironically opened up just 2 to 3 days after having contrast injection with a CAT scan that was done on some very, very swollen, where are they? Lymph nodes. That one has actually gone down quite a bit since the injection. So after having infections in my face every single month, that literally disfigured my face. They wouldn't heal for a month. From 2004 until a little over a year ago, they all completely stopped when this opened on top of my head. No. Never mind. I won't even ask that. People say the most ridiculous things when they're trying to, use all their extra energy and health to criticize people that are sick online and make fun of them. And because who does that with their extra time? Let's just, harass chronically ill people. Well, it's unfortunate. It does happen a lot. And I've experienced that a bunch. And that's why awareness needs to be raised about this disease. And so I am going to get in the bath. I tried drinking some coffee and playing a block game because sometimes that helps my brain work a little better. It might have. I'm speaking far better than I was a little bit ago. And I'm gonna go take a bath, wash my hair about 7 times with a whole bunch of shampoos and conditioners that have essential oils that causes all these little balls to come out of my head, and then I feel a little bit better. Fraction of normal, that's above my normal percentage of normal that I feel. I just really feel like hell. This is a disease that really, really, really causes a lot of torture, and takes forever to get over if you do. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't use narcotic drugs. I haven't for many years. I also have had plenty of mental health evaluations, and even a day and a half neuropsych appointment. The consensus of that was that I was wearing myself out even more, trying to get help with this, trying to get the medical help, trying to get the support I need to fight through it, and that I needed to be in an urban area where my health needs could be better addressed. But how do you do that when you have been severely struggling with work for a decade and mostly bedridden for half of that time? I don't know. I would like to know how. I'm just really putting all this out, hoping by some miracle, someone that cares will help me. And so thank you for watching this. Here are some of my stones and beads that I put out to get a show together for the art walk tomorrow, and be able to further raise awareness through my jewelry and my art and some of these events. So this one, I'm sorry, I gotta look because I'm not good at recording. Those there were designs that I came up with and started to manufacture online in the year 2008, as well as hammered copper hoop earrings and hammered copper stick earrings. 10 years later, it's taken off enormously. So I should be rich or wealthy. I should be getting recognition and admiration and all this stuff. But instead, I am criticized, discarded, and lied about family, about by the church that I was actually singing in just recently, that I'm not allowed to be a part of anymore, and being ignored. They won't even respond to just my desire to have a meeting about this. I literally took a few weeks of medical leave from that and was basically completely pushed out. So that's kind of my life, part of it, and I do thank you for watching this. And I like to leave these videos by saying please protect your children from bug bites. And the best way to do this is finding the right essential oils that the bugs don't like. If your child is bit by a bug, don't just remove a tick and forget about it. Please check for a bullseye rash. Hard to do when it happens on the top of your head, but if you can, save the bug so that can be checked out if necessary. And don't ignore your family members when they have issues. I mean, all of the medical proof is there that I'm dealing with something severe. the loss of many things in life, businesses, ways to make money. I had a good thing going on. Why would I just purposely just like choose this? It's flipping ridiculous. It's all flipping ridiculous. What's super ridiculous is what the government's tried to say about this disease and blame it on. What's super ridiculous is that like Mythbuster guy, oh, let's put stripper glitter up as an excuse. Oh my goodness. Well, you can tell that none of the actual factual posts from people that suffer from this or the medical industry, the proof of it. You can tell like none of those posts are up, just all these ridiculous stripper glitter posts. Yeah. Hey, that might explain my 14-year-old German Shepherd. He's sneaking out and going to the strip club in the middle of the night. It's like, really? Do people really believe this stuff? And who on earth, unless they're being paid to basically discredit certain people, spends their time with that? I mean, it's like, come on, get a life. If you're really that healthy, that you've got that much extra time and health, to just discredit people that are chronically ill and dying out there, like, get a life. Really, seriously, do something good to help people. Why don't you? It's ridiculous. And what's super ridiculous is just the industries that we create in this country, and then discredit people just to support our industries, such as correction and addictions. It's just hilarious. I had to take down one of my videos, and I love it when I get a thumbs down. That means I made somebody mad, and they deserve to be mad, and there's a reason they should be. Oh, I'm protecting my cush life. So dumb. But you can tell by all the advertisements that addiction jobs are available. It's on the rise. Get your degree in that so that you can have a job. Well, we have to ask ourselves now, why are addictions like skyrocketing so much? And I'll have more on that, more examples of that later. But it's out of control. It's just out of control. And I can tell you, I've been watching through the church and seeing these guys that my dad worked with in this town. I'm going to say 1 out of 20 of all of them I've seen that was ever involved with my dad's life with the church, they all go back. They constantly go back. I had a band that we started in church from the center, and they were all part of this program that's a year long in this state that has an 85% success rate. Well, I know at least 6 from that year of that school. Well, 7 it'd be now. 7, at least 7 that came out of there that basically, second they're off paper, they're messing around again and back in. Well, we're not dealing with the root issue of this. And then to make things worse, we've got poor health care, and instead of ignoring the symptoms, doctors have all these ideas that are basically like, oh, well, if we don't know what's going on with you, it must be mental illness. If we don't know what's going on with you, you've got to be a drug addict. In my town, I go to ER seeking life-saving help from a hypertensive crisis I think I'm having all the symptoms of that from the MAOI patch I was on, which, by the way, is the very last antidepressant you can try or given for Parkinson's disease. I bring my prescription with me just to have that ER staff try to diagnose me with amphetamine abuse, even though the levels on that test showed the correct levels for that patch, and the DL isomer and the sample sent in, the DL isomer indicated it was not a street drug either. It indicated that it was from that prescription. And then also, they tried to say I was diagnosed me with some weird word that you're imagining something stuck in your throat. Even though my thyroid test was 44 that day, And literally a few weeks before I'd been normal on the same dose. Had a severely swollen thyroid gland. Not a single, doctor or nobody felt that. I had this swollen lymph node. Where are you? Wrong side. That was actually a ton bigger. Wasn't felt. And then I had an MRI right after that that indicated I have a Chiari malformation in my brain. So, but yeah, they want to diagnose me with the fact that I'm imagining something in my throat that isn't there. Hilarious. No, it's sad, actually. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, like the healthcare industry in our country and other countries can be. It's ridiculous how much Morgellons patients have been dismissed, lied about, misrepresented, and left for dead and forgotten about in this country. It's ridiculous how much our addiction industries fail to address emotional root causes, childhood trauma, medical problems that might be causing people to self-medicate when their doctors are ignoring their symptoms over and over and over again for a decade. Why? Because I now live in the ghetto, because I've become severely disabled for many years. So you pick me up in the ghetto and all of a sudden I'm going to be abusing drugs just because of where you came and picked me up from. You know, the only reason my blood pressure had actually gone a little bit lower by that time is because of the fact that I was harassed by the personnel that picked me up. And I believe that that's the only thing that seems to stimulate my adrenal glands when you're a total jerk to me for being sick. That seems to stimulate the adrenal glands enough to be able to stand up sometimes or whatever, you know. But going from 145 over 110 or 120 down to 100 over 60 by the time I left the hospital, I'd say it's a significant drop in blood pressure. So, but this is what happens when you go to medical school for tons of years, I guess. You're going to make a lot of money and just dismiss and lie about people that are in severe pain and distress, and their lives are literally in the balance, and they're, they could literally die from your mismanagement. So good for y'alls. Anyways, we will win in the end, and the people that are jerks and don't care about other people, something's gonna have to balance out. Something's gonna have to give, and it's sad for me it's sad to me that people are such jerks often. But you know what? They're just speaking for themselves, I guess, in that case. So I gotta try to not be like that, even though my life doesn't seem to matter to anybody in my community. I still don't want to be like them, I used to donate a ton of my jewelry to benefits, but nobody's ever tried to have a benefit for me or raise anything for me, not a single dollar, to get through this. And all I'm trying to do is fight it and get better so that I can get my life back and not need to depend on anyone. But when lost that thought. And I'm doing so much better right now, honestly. So weird. The other thing that's hilarious is how somehow you'll put up a video on YouTube, but they'll find the worst you'll look through the entire video to make that the cover of that video. It's so hilarious. Anyways, I am going to try to get in the bath and clear this so that I can try to get a few pieces of jewelry made and do a little marketing for that event, and get through another day. Thanks for watching. You can find my blogs, Sally Beating Morgellons, or I'm sorry, is that what Sally Beating Morgellons, Montana, might be Sally Beatty Morgellons. I don't know. I'm trying to get it all put together, and I'd appreciate any amount of help from anyone. I would go try to get donations for my own benefit, but when you're bedridden for like almost 100 or like 80 to 100% of the time, it makes it really difficult, you know, to do anything, you know. And so this is what I can do, and this is why I'm doing it. Is all I can do is just tell my story and raise awareness and beg and plead for my life to be saved, because I really truly want to help other people, because I don't believe that anybody should have to go through this. It's sad. People have said that they would rather trade this for cancer or MS in a minute. And even though I had MS show on my brain, and I had actually a band show up in the fluid, and that was supposed to be repeated, just to have this clinic here that cut me off of care, and that practitioner that ordered that test to not tell me that, and it never was repeated. You know, I don't know why that was. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, just to actually have compassion from people, to have people step in to help save your life when you desperately need that. This is part of why people would rather trade this for cancer or MS, I guess. I haven't had cancer personally, but I knew somebody that did, and basically found out, and a month later was gone, you know, and she was in our life a ton of years. And so I can't imagine she could have been suffering too terribly up until the end, or probably would have had tests done earlier. But I did watch her up till then, and I know she had a little bit better of a time than, you know, that I'm having now, and that's with sorry, it's so hard to think sometimes. But actually, you know, they let her stay singing at church. That was nice. That was nice of them. Whatever. All right, well, more to come, I guess. Thanks.